November is Financial Literacy Month, dedicated to improving the financial well-being of Canadians. So we thought it's the perfect time to bring in our friend Clinton Wilkins, Senior Mortgage Advisor, and Chris Turcotte, President of Centum Financial, to share their advice on income, assets, and credit to help consumers better understand their finances. We're almost at the end of Financial Literacy Month, guys, so you just made it in on time. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Chris and Clinton. Chris, a new face to our show, but we know Clinton, so thanks again. Great to meet you, Chris.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so let's start with credit, the big C word. We always think about this when we think about financial literacy. It's really important to think about building that credit, right?
Yeah, 100%. Mortgage lending is really tied to credit.
Right.
And there's solutions for everyone depending on where they are on the credit matrix. And we really talk to consumers about how do they maintain good credit. And it's really around payment history, it's around balances compared to limits, and really around their credit mix. I think November is a perfect time to really look at your credit. I think credit monitoring is super important, and especially when you're going in to buy a home or refinance or renew, credit really does come into play.
Could you tell me, I wanted to know this, like on average, how many credit cards should one have? I know every situation is different. Let's talk to you, Chris, about that. Do you think it's important to have 2, 3, 1? What are you thinking?
I think more than the number, it's credit management, right?
Right.
So it's how much credit you have versus how much you use.
Okay.
And you talked about credit health. I still haven't used trigonometry, but yet we don't teach credit in school, right?
Yeah.
So the rule of thumb, what capacity of your current credit are you using? Do you have a $10,000 credit card? Are you always hovering near that limit? Or are you managing it and paying it off every month? Paying it off every month shows the Equifax and TransUnion shows that you can manage your credit accordingly, and your score goes up accordingly, showing that you're good with the credit that you're granted.
Right, so if you're really good at paying it off, hey, build that credit, have a few cards. If you're struggling, keep it to one and maybe put it in an ice block in your freezer and don't touch it, right?
I think that's always a good solution. And going to the holidays, it's a challenging time.
Oh, it is.
But I think, talking about credit, opening your bills, especially if you're a couple in a household, I think it's so important.
Exactly, all right. I want to talk about income too. That's something that I know you both are talking about a lot this month, Financial Literacy Month. So what do you consider when you think income for someone who's coming in to buy a home, Clinton? What sort of things do you tell them? You can also look outside of what that income reads on a statement, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of different solutions. More and more Canadians are becoming self-employed all the time, and there's lots of great programs for self-employed borrowers as well. Typically, when you're self-employed, we'd look at a 2-year average of your income.
Okay.
But there are some other programs available, stated income programs when you're buying a home, and also refinancing that can certainly come into play. Typically, when someone is employed with an employer, we look at their salary, or if they're on a variable income, we might look at a 2-year average as well.
Okay. What else? When someone comes in looking for a mortgage and we're considering our finances and keeping them in order, what do you give people as advice, Chris, when they're coming in to see you?
Well, I think there's advice of living within your means, but I think more importantly with Christmas coming and everything else, like it's so critical now that you have an unbiased mortgage professional.
Right.
We've all worked for banks, banks, I'm paid to make sure you walk out with my bank's product.
Yeah.
We're talking about the most intimate part of your life, your financial history. You're making the largest purchase of your life. You need that unbiased mortgage professional that's not working for the bank.
Right.
They're working for you to really guide you through that process.
All right. So that, of course, both of you not working for banks. And that is a big question I think a lot of people have. What is the big difference coming in to see you versus going to a bank, other than that bias that the bank is trying to sell you sort of a product? What other benefits are there of seeing someone like you?
Well, I think that we're biased to the consumer.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're in a relationship business. I think that we lend the consumer to the lender for a certain period of time, and then we'd like to get involved again when the mortgage comes up for renewal. Yeah. So many things change in people's lives, whether it's marital breakdown, health issues, change of jobs, change of situation. And I think just being in touch with someone that can really help, I think, is important. With us, we have access to about 40 different lenders. Not every lender is for every consumer. The primary basis of our business is normal bank business, AAA. But there are other solutions out there because not every consumer that might work with. So I think that, really seeking that advice for your biggest purchase, and the mortgage is the biggest debt of your life. I think going to an unbiased mortgage professional is really the best solution.
most likely will be, of course, your biggest debt you'll have, biggest loan to pay off. I'm going to give you the final word, Chris. Financial Literacy Month. Best advice you have for someone out there this morning that perhaps is struggling with finances, or perhaps just a young person watching how to set them up for success financially in the future.
Yeah, 100%. Because like we mentioned, they're not teaching this in school, which is mind-blowing, right? So always live within your means. Pay yourself first. That's the big one, really.
Yeah.
Like, pay yourself first. Make sure that you're putting into savings. Make sure you're paying your bills. You get whatever's left over. No one else is going to put you first in your financial situation. And then when you go to lend, I think the perfect way to cap it would be, it's your financial situation. Are you really going to go for one option, or do you want to make sure that you understand the entire landscape? And I think that's what's most important.
We've got to leave it there. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Clinton Wilkins, Chris Turcotte, appreciate you coming in this morning.